They don't think you could do it, but tell you to try when they talk. All I hope had to keep it alive. Spend a day in the Bronx, but you wouldn't survive. Can be low when I pop out, they know I've arrived. I go have conversations with Zoe, he gon' tell me pull up and come say what you know. I've been up, I can count all them days in a row. We don't say what we do, we be making the show. They say I'll be
the voice of the Bronx. We have Bronx Land with the guys are out here. Can I get a yeah?
Leave them all right where they at. Try to diss me, I bet I don't even react. Put a show on, I bet you somebody gon' I pick me a book up and drink me some water, invest in the stock. All them kids don't be back in.
Tell me about the S.
Slice of excellence, man.
Okay.
We trade report cards for pizza.
Love it.
So we do pizza parties every month for perfect attendance.
Okay, where at the schools?
Yeah, at the school, I send them pizza.
Nice.
Yeah, and every 3 months we do it for report cards.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
How
sure.
long have you been doing that?
4 years. I started during COVID as a second grade teacher.
Mm-hmm. How do you identify the school?
Can you slide over?
Yeah.
So
Am I good? This is here?
Yeah. So a lot of it is they give me their perfect attendance data.
Mm-hmm. You do it through the DOE or through the schools?
Through the schools.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I work in the DOE now, I can't become a vendor.
Okay.
So I would have to step down as founder and president too. So we're in the process of that, but figuring out the best way to navigate through it.
So your relationships are with the principals?
Principals, CBOs, deans in other schools, Facebook, guidance counselors, friends, family.
Love it, man.
And it's just branched off.
And how many? Yeah, police. And how many years have you been doing it?
4 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any particular borough citywide?
I would say my most schools are in Brooklyn and the Bronx. Primarily in the Bronx, but I got a lot of schools in Brooklyn too.
Any particular communities?
Definitely, let me see. I have schools in Flatbush, East New York. A couple schools in Bed-Stuy.
Now the report card only comes out once in whatever.
Quarterly, every 3 months.
Right. So do you do it quarterly or do you?
No, so that's why we do the perfect attendance every month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the school that has perfect attendance?
Well, yeah, the student, they usually have between I would say 100 to 200 students with perfect attendance for the month.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then that goes up because once we do one party, kids are like, oh, I can't miss out. So they start showing up for sure.
Love it, man. It's a creative way. We have to find creative ways to reach young people to do good things. It's like getting them over a particular period of time.
Right.
You get them over that 15 to 20.
Right.
Those are like the periods where, they're finding themselves, they've been introduced to new things. But if you can find positive things through that gap, it's a good shot.
Right.
Now, of course, we should start early to building good practices. But those are the years, man.
And this is yours. I heard you're a size large.
Okay.
So,
love it. Appreciate that. Man. Appreciate
for
that.
a slice of excellence. Doing great things in the community.
You get a shot.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Absolutely, man. So
yes,
let's get it going, man.
Yes.
All right. Peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Zoe. This is a milestone interview. I was trying to find the right person, and I didn't want to reach too far. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just let it happen organically. This is my 200th episode.
Wow.
Who better than to share it? You know what I'm saying? I'm very deeply rooted in my community and with the youth, using this platform to talk about great things and using my nonprofit to do great things. So everything is coming together. But we have Mayor Eric Adams, a father, a philanthropist, has been serving New York City for over 25 years. How you doing?
That's cutting it short. That's even longer when you think about it. Back when I was introduced to Reverend Herbert Daughtry, I was around 17, 18 years old.
Right.
There was an incident that happened in South Jamaica, Queens, and it could have been, I forgot the exact year, I think it was 76, 77-ish.
Right.
And a young man named Clifford Glover was shot and killed by a police officer named Shea.
Right.
And he was found not guilty. And Reverend Herbert Daughtry was doing a march around that. And then I saw him again when Arthur Miller was killed through a chokehold by police officers. And Reverend Daughtry inspired me through the National Black United Front to get engaged, to get involved. And I was just, in my teens, when I really started being a part of this.
Right.
So it's a nice little run.
Right.
Consistency, dedication, and commitment.
Right. Those are great pillars right there.
Yes.
So we're gonna start with a little warm up, right? With some
a stretch,
some New York lingo.
Yes.
And things that the youth say and things like that. We're gonna see what's up. So, do you have opps?
I don't know what ops are.
That's like opposition, like beef.
Oh yeah. Wait, well, who doesn't have ops?
Right.
if you don't have ops, you're not doing anything.
That's a fact.
You know that, and so there's a whole lot of ops, man.
Right.
I call them haters, but you gotta turn your haters into waiters.
Right. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? You got five today.
Right.
Find a way to get five more.
You do. But let's be clear. Opposition doesn't take you down. It should lift you up.
Yes.
Because my life is filled with opposition, but those oppositions turn into motivations. And it's just how you look at things. And so people who want to run and take my seat, they're supposed to. I'm on the top of the hill. I'm the mayor of the most important city on the globe.
Right.
Now, no one is supposed to aspire to get there?
Right.
That makes no sense at all.
Right. I might be there myself.
That's right. You should be.
Yeah. All right. Bacon, egging.
Okay, you got to tell me, as long as it don't have any cheese attached to it.
You got it. That's the end of it. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Right.
Right? Chicken over
rice.
All right. Let me get a chop.
I hope it's not a pork chop.
No. Chopped cheese.
Okay.
Right. Giants or Jets?
I am a Jets man.
Right.
Ever since that year with Gastineau.
That was a long time ago. I wasn't even born.
That damn, mistake, man. Greco was playing his heart out. Pleco was playing his heart out. But I'm a Jets man.
All right. You got Aaron Rodgers? Think he's gonna make a difference?
I was really disappointed. He tore his Achilles early on, but I think he could come back and stay focused. They just need a real good, solid leadership. We haven't had a solid quarterback, to be honest, since Joe Namath.
Right.
It's a long time.
Right. Knicks or Nets?
Love them both, man. Sometimes I'm in the Nets state of mind. Sometimes I'm in the Knicks state of mind. I love them both. They bring the energy to the court, so I could rock with both of them.
Right. Yankees or Mets?
I'm a Mets guy. You know that?
You guys took care of us yesterday.
Yeah.
Turn the TV off, man.
I hang with the Yankees also.
Right.
But if I had to pick one or the other, grew up in Queens, so there's a familiarity with the Mets. But I love my Yankees. I'm a New Yorker.
Right.
So that's the only jersey I like.
Right. Islanders or Rangers?
Both. Okay. Both. Yes. We came close this year.
New York through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What does QGTM mean?
Q G
TM.
TM.
You from Queens, baby. Come on there.
Of course, man. I was just hanging out with him today, the Queensboro president. Queens get the money.
Queens get the money. Don't you be nice. Let's go. All right.
They get a lot of money from me.
Right. Listen, slice of excellence too. We on our way. For sure. So describe your childhood.
It was a mixture, and sometimes you don't realize the things you are going through are the things that you're going to need to grow through.
Right.
And so growing up with the learning disabilities, undiagnosed, you don't know what's happening. Why can't you read? Everyone else is reading. Right. Everyone is mocking you because of your inability to read. Right. I found out in college that I was dyslexic.
Right.
And just had to really scrapple my way through, but never giving up because Mom didn't allow me to give up. My brother and I had a negative encounter with police. We were arrested as children at 15, and police officers assaulted us. Yeah. So it was challenging. Mom was raising 6 children.
Wow.
And she just, never surrendered. Did 3 jobs to put food on the table, but it was rewarding.
Right.
Because we belong to a small church, we like to call it the Cheers Church, a small storefront church, where people are always there for us. Sometimes you can look at the negative that you overlook the positive.
Right.
Christmas time, people used to leave us gifts on the back porch. Easter time, they would leave us clothing for the 6 of us. Thanksgiving, they'll leave canned goods and, food. They used to do something called a susu.
Right.
When Mommy got behind.
Yeah, I know susu. Yeah. 50 every week.
Right.
Rotating pot. Yeah.
Mom would get behind in the rent and in the mortgage, and they would all chip in. And, thank God for numbers, man, because she'd get that hit right when we needed it,
Right, good time.
But it was a struggle, but it was rewarding because now when I look back on it, and people tell me you're the mayor of the city of New York is the second most difficult job in politics in the city. I say, listen, I know what difficult is. Hard is, doing those 3 jobs, raising your children, going out there on your arthritic knees, and still knowing you have to deliver. You're having to just really sacrifice. That's what hard is.
Right.
And so because of that lifestyle and what Mom inspired and instilled in me, it made me who I am now. I would not be mayor if I didn't have a mother like the mother I had.
Right. That's beautiful. Who is an educator that impacted your life?
A few. One of them is Tracy. Tracy Collins, former principal, teacher extraordinaire. And she told me and educated me on social emotional intelligence. She's big on that. She turned around schools. She was, just one of those dedicated, solid educators. Because education is a calling.
Yes.
I think there's certain professions that you are called to do. Right. It's not that you're doing it for the paycheck. You're doing it because you believe in it.
Yes.
And she believes in children and education. And the second is a teacher named Miss Pasternak. She was my 3rd grade teacher. She communicates with me from time to time. Wow. And she was really committed and dedicated to, although I struggled, to inspire me with the excellence that I need.
Right. Describe your high school self.
But I want to go back to that teacher for a moment, because I don't think people realize how important teachers are.
Right.
There was a study that I just looked at the other day where they took a random group of children.
Right.
And they told half of them you are accelerated learners and you're high achievers. They told another half that, you're just ordinary students, basically.
Right.
And the teachers, they didn't let the teachers know. They told the teachers that, here, these are accelerated learners, these are not. And the teachers actually started communicating and talking to the accelerated learners in one way and other students in the next, and started treating them differently. And at the end of the school year, the accelerated learners excelled. And these were just average, random children. And they did this study over and over again, telling girls that you're bad in math, and the grades reflected being bad in math. I don't know if people know the power of the message that comes from a teacher. A teacher can inspire you. A teacher can bring you down also at the same time. When my brother went to college in Alabama to play baseball and he failed, I remember calling him. He was in tears, and he called me to ask me to come pick him up. And he says, he's in college. He says, Miss Gamongi told me I would never be anything. That was his 3rd grade teacher. Right. So here he's a grown man in college, still reflecting on the words of his 3rd grade teacher. So when we go in to see who's educating our children, you need to interview the teacher. You need to really have a profile on that teacher and see, what are their thoughts, how children do in their class. Do they have a real understanding of diversity, and are they harboring some hatred, or do they believe that the students of different groupings are inferior? So that's a teacher's a very powerful person to shape your mind and tell you what the possibilities are.
Right. And it's crazy you say that, because I literally wrote that as my Facebook status like a few days ago. I'm an assistant dean at a high school.
Nice.
So I see all these, so there's a middle school and 2 high schools. So I see all these things every day, and people forget the power of the tongue, and as adults, I feel like we need to do our own inner healing before we go, be around children. Right. Because we project a lot. Right. And many times, you may say they can't because you can't. Right. And that's not gonna help what we got going on here.
So, man, you're hitting out the park right now, because words are powerful. Yes. They're powerful. And in our households, we need to constantly reinforce those words. Yes. People should have positive images hanging up in their home. I never forget, my mom told me about the word impossible. She had me put it on my mirror and throughout. And you look at it and you see impossible. Right. And then she told me, no, son, read the first letter. Right. I. Read the second letter, M, and now read the word possible. So impossible turned into I am possible. And I talked about it all the time. And I used to see it every day. So no matter what I was going through, I said, listen, I'm possible. I'm possible. And I don't know how much, if you were to do a canvas and walk through your home, you have to ask yourself, what am I reinforcing in my home? If you're blasting lyrics that talks about, pop, pop, I'm going to take out, this, or I'm going to do that. People don't realize you are being programmed.
Right.
And we need to do a deprogramming so that we can move forward and reach our full potential. But people don't know these subliminal messages are real.
No, I mean, all of these things, everybody needs to be held accountable. Parents got to parent, teachers got to teach. Well, what about the principals though? Salary is pretty nice up there, but how are you held accountable if your schools aren't doing that well?
And it is so important, but let's think about this for a moment. I think a lot of people often look at, as you being an educator, if all you had to do was teach Johnny how to read or how to write, then, that's a walk in the park. That's what you're trained to do. But by the time these babies walk through the doors, they're broken. Many of them are dealing with domestic violence at home. They may have just lost a loved one to gun violence. They may have not had something to eat. You see some of our young people in the wintertime wearing little sandals and slippers. They're not trying to be cool. They don't have shoes. And so we drop this into the school system, all the problems that break children, and then we go to the teachers and the principals and we say, okay, fix them. And that's why we instilled looking at healthy food so we don't feed healthcare crises. We're teaching children breathing exercises in the morning, meditation. We have to, before Johnny can read and do math, 1 and 1 equals 2, we got to put them up together again. So our schools can't be just academic institutions. They must be institutions for emotional intelligence. And these children are really feeling some real pain. And social media is leading to it, higher suicidal ideations, depression, attempted suicides. And so, yes, we want our principals to stand up and do right, but we have to be honest with the product that we're giving them. They're no longer just principals. Even you as a dean, trust me, I know you're dealing with some issues with these young people, that stuff that they're dealing with at home, that they're coming in, and once they start talking to you, you start drilling down and say, wait a minute, Johnny's not reading, not because he can't read, it's because he's dealing with some of that other stuff that's going on. We got to address that stuff as part of our educational plan. We can't just say, listen, that's not my business. I'm just going to make sure you sit down and regurgitate what you're reading. No, we got to deal with that. If we want to develop the full personhood of our children. And principals play a role in that, because I go to some schools with principals and you see that holistic approach. It's unbelievable what they're doing about the healing that needs to be done with our children. And then those children can go home and start healing their families and their communities at the same time.
The tools and the resources.
Yes.
So does social media ever bother you?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Dr. Fassan, my commissioner of Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, we did a summit last year on the impacts of social media and what is happening with social media. Social media, to me, is the Trojan horse from the Troy War fable that we heard of. It has snuck into the forts of our homes. Our children could be in the bathroom, the bedroom. They could be in the basement. They looking at this device and it's hooked on it. Social media, these platforms are like crack. You try, if you have young children, you try taking it away from them.
They lose it.
And they have created these masterful algorithms to draw our young people into dark places. And that's why you're seeing the impacts of social media. What is doing with drill music and some drill music to cause violence with groups. What is doing around making young girls feel less about themselves.
Right.
What it's doing in attracting young people to meet people across the country and come and be part of sex trafficking, a trade. What it's doing about, selling loneliness. These algorithms are powerful.
Right.
They know how to draw our children in. And some of the radicalization that you're seeing, even with the marches that are going on right now. You talk to some of our young people that are spewing out that they are Hamas, that they are Al-Qaeda, that they are Hezbollah. They don't even know the significance of that, but it becomes popular from social media. Because remember, when we sat down, and I sat down, I would sit down and look at the news with my mom, and I would see at least a semblance of filtered truth.
Right.
Now, what's on TikTok, Instagram, doesn't have to be true at all.
Right.
And that's where our children are getting all their information from.
Right.
And so we need to, social media must monitor itself, but we must have strict laws in place so that these algorithms don't continue to harm our children.
Right. So 2 things. Any narrative or headline that has ever bothered you, like as far as your morals or your character?
Explain that more for me.
Like you may have seen something that says something you've read that's like, that's not who you are.
Every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Are you kidding me? If you were to read what's been spewed out, you would say, wait a minute, this guy's a real failure as a mayor,
Right.
And that's all by design,
Right.
Because if you go back and look at some of the things that were written by David Dinkins,
Right.
when he was turning around the city, that he inherited a mess,
Right.
and he was turning around, they were saying the same thing. Oh, he goes out too much. Right. Oh, he dresses too fancy.
Right.
Oh, he's not competent enough to run the city. Same thing. All they did was pull out the same playbook, and then you get folks of color who pick up the paper and they buy into that narrative.
Right.
Brother, let me tell you what I inherited, man. I inherited a city where there was a 40% increase in crime when I became the mayor in January 2022. COVID was here. No one wanted to open businesses here. Independent financial experts decrease what's called our bond ratings to see how successful you're doing as a city. We weren't building housing at the level. There were street encampments. People were living on the streets, in the subway station, on the side of highways. NYCHA residents did not have high-speed broadband. I saw that when I was the borough president. But then you go 2 years. 2 years later, we have double-digit decrease in shootings and homicides. 5 of the 7 major crime categories are down. We've built more. We financed more affordable housing in 1 year than ever has been done in the history of this city. We moved more people out of homelessness into permanent housing in 1 year than the history of the city. We have 64 million tourists have come back to the city. 4.1 million people ride our subway a day. We only have 6 felonies a day on our subway out of 4.1 million. 6 felony. Bond raters increased our bond. We have more jobs in the city of New York in the history of the city of New York. More small businesses open under my administration. Since I've been in office, we have the largest number of small businesses in the history of the city. 64 million tourists are back. And let's drop this on us.
Very tasty, cheesy, oniony, all of the above. One word to describe it, scrumptious, right? We from the town, so we just gonna say pause first, but it melts in your mouth. You just love it. You know what I'm saying? I wear this shirt to sleep. How much I love 7th Street Burger, man. It's near and dear to my heart. You see the logo? It's near to my heart. That's how we do it, man. Peace.
200,000 migrants and asylum seekers. I can't stop the buses from coming in. It's illegal by federal law. I have to give them 3 meals a day and wash their clothing and educate all the children, 38,000, and make sure they have a place to sleep. And I can't even allow them to work. And the federal government said, you can't even allow them to volunteer and give them a stipend, because a group of migrants came to me and said, we want to remove graffiti and clean the streets. We don't want to sit around all day. Federal government said, no, you cannot do that. Mm-hmm. So with all of that, we still have been able to move this city forward. That is what you call properly managing a city. Right. Same way David Dinkins did when he was the mayor.
Right. Stand on that, too. I mean, I feel like as far as when it comes to politics, especially local politics, most people don't know who their local councilman is. So It's just like, not to say all of us black and brown people, but it's like it's almost entertaining to see one of us fall. And it's corny. It's like, why did we do that? That's your left. That's your left. It's all right. You the man though. It's all right. I mean, all right. But you know, we gotta like.
I just want to read under you.
No, it's so good. It's so good. You know, having two black men here from different generations, bridging the gap, learning and growing together, right? But there's a brother who brought me to here, right? That's how I got this interview. So I definitely want to shout out my brother Iron Monk, who's amazing, has believed in the platform, has believed in me, and has definitely pushed everything I got going forward.
Love it.
So there's a lot of good going on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, the negative is kind of more entertaining to people.
It is.
And people want to be entertained to run from the truth.
Oh, listen, brother, if it bleeds, it leads. You know, so if you have a city of 8.3 million people, and your mission is, let me take the worst thing that happens in the city. Let's ignore the fact that, you know, this guy has invested in foster care children and allowed them to go to college, with paying their college tuition and giving them a stipends and giving them life coaches until they're 21 and they're moving on with their lives. Let's ignore all of that. Let's just find the worst thing that happens in a city of 8.3 million people. And let's focus on that every day. So people begin to internalize that and believe that that's their reality. So if you're one of the 4.1 million people that ride the subway system every day with no problem at all, but you're reading every day that, hey, here's the worst thing that happened on that city, on that system, you begin to say, oh, what the hell is the mayor doing? Our subway system is at the safest levels that it has been in generations. And then to add to that, when you look at the bar graph of safe cities in America, you look at all of these cities, and do you look at this small little bar for New York City? We're the safest big city in America. But you would never think that because you find the worst crime that happens in the city and you throw it on the front pages every day. Because if it bleeds, it leads.
So as a New Yorker, you ever bump into like any of these journalists and be like, yo, what's up with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, you good? Like, you gotta check the temperature over there. Like, yo, what's up? You good?
Listen. I tell them all the time, and some of them are still angry because I said in January 2022, I said I'm a second black mayor, and look who's covering me. You know, you are interpreting who I am through your prism. You know, because these newsrooms, you're not seeing the diversity. And so many people come with their own agenda. And you got some great reporters, they're gonna cover the facts. And you know, the facts are, you know, when you drop the ball, you know, you have to man up. Don't whine when you drop the ball. But if you're running around here saying, you know, where did you get your soup from? You know, you run around here saying, you know, well, he's out too late at night. Cover the news, man. I just did X. I'm containerizing all the garbage in the city to deal with our rodent problem. You know, let's focus on what the real success of this city. And people, we should be in the energy and spirit to allow people to fall in love with the city again, man. You know, like I keep telling them all the time, the journalists, I'm the pilot. I'm flying the plane. You're a passenger on the plane. Stop hoping that the plane crashes. I mean, how sick is that? You should be saying, I want Eric to land this plane. You know, and then when the election comes, then vote for who you want. But right now, the pilot of this plane is Mayor Adams. You know, so if I don't turn around the schools, your children will be impacted. If I don't continue to drive down crime, your family will be impacted. So all the things that people want to say, aha, I gotcha. If I don't continue to bring jobs to this city, we're all impacted. We should be hoping for the success. And I use the model of President Roosevelt. President Roosevelt was suffering from a serious a disease where he was unable to walk, you know? But the newspapers knew that the country had to turn around, that they rarely photoed him not being able to walk or even talked about it. They said, we need to be focused on the country turned around. That's not what we're seeing now. This I gotcha, let me try to bring you down journalism is really hurting the cities across America.
It truly is. And not in closing, but with the schools, could there be a law where it's like citywide, where phones are collected at the beginning of every class.
Yeah, you know,
These kids ain't learning.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I see it.
I know it.
They TikToking all day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Two things that are powerful about schools. Number one, is what you just stated. And the chancellor and I and the team were looking at that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, brother, the biggest pushback is not coming from the children, it's coming from the parents.
Right. The parents ain't parenting.
Yeah. You know, that's what's coming
Johnny
from.
can't read. Like,
yeah. And you know, sometimes, you know, that good old fashioned that I got to do what's right for you now.
we need Joe Clark. That's what we need. We need Joe Clark. That's where I want to be. I want to be a little bit of Joe Clark. You know what I'm saying? You might come to my school and we lock doors and all that. I mean, I told you I did it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm Joe Clark in it, man. Telling you, man. That's what we need.
But that's the type of discipline.
Yeah, come on. We need that.
That good old-fashioned discipline. And so we're looking to see, we want to bring as many people with us to understand how important this is, because you're right.
Right.
TikToking all day, bullying.
Right. Smoking on your... we had an issue with a kid saying I'm smoking on your dad on live.
Think about that.
Come on, man.
Right. No, I'm with you. The second thing is that we're not acknowledging is that our children are high all the time.
Ooh, yeah, the Zaza. Ooh.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And that's why we've been cracking down on these cannabis shops.
Right.
And we closed several hundred and expected even more. We send them the right message. Our children are high all the time,
Yeah.
you know, from cannabis to gummy bears to, you know, taking
edibles
pills.
and
I mean, it's unbelievable. And we have to really accept it and have a plan to address it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's one of my words of the year, acceptance.
Right.
I was talking to my family like, listen, we all can't duck each other forever.
Right.
We cannot fix what we don't accept.
That's right.
What's done is done. Let's accept it and let's move forward.
That's powerful. You know, I lost my brother. He transitioned a couple of months ago. And, you know, my family, we were all together. And the last time we were all together was when my mom died. And the time before that was when my dad transitioned. Mm-hmm. And I said to them, listen, we can't benchmark our gatherings based on, you know, tragedy. You know, and you're right. A lot of families need to go back and deal with some dark passes.
Right.
You know, we want to ignore it and we see each other and act like, you know, it's not real. No, it's real. You know, real. There's some real issues we have to address, and we shouldn't feel bad about that. The mere fact you and I are able to sit down and communicate with each other in a civilized way from what we've gone through.
Yes.
That is a real reflection on the resiliency of what we are. You know, what we have gone through as Black people. Right. And we can sit here and have a civilized conversation talking about, as you open, about love and respect. That says a lot about who we are as human beings.
Right. And then, you know, being intentional and using my platform to empower the youth, say powerful things, you know, all of that stuff matters. Right. There's a lot of people looking at this platform. Right. And you've seen a lot of notable people, but we all echoing the same message. Right. Of love, positivity, healing, doing the right thing. Even if facing adversity, even if you go left, how you can come back right. That's right. You know, being on the other side of things. That's right. Most of the youth, when they crashing out, they don't know that there's another side. Right, you know what I'm saying? And this little angle you have right now is gonna pass. You feel me? And you got bigger fish to fry. So that's why I love being at the school every day, because I get to really be with them every day and echo that message.
And we need you know, images of you. We need role models like you, because when you're in that classroom, you are inspiring. And that's important. Yes. You know, as we were talking about how powerful words are. And because a lot of these young people, you'll be surprised, they don't have any care in nurturing. They don't have, there are no, particularly once you get to a certain level. Right. You know, once you get to a certain level, you rarely hear kind words. Right. You know, when you're young, cute, and cuddly, and you're still moving around in the scroll, like, oh, look at that beautiful baby. Right. And then all of a sudden, you reach a certain level, particularly for a Black and brown boy. Right. You reach that certain level around that 12-ish, all of a sudden you notice that, you know, people are moving away from you. You get on the elevator and everybody looking at you strange. Right. You walk around the store, everybody's following you. Right. You know, no one wants to interact with you. Then you rarely, if you were to do an analysis to young Black and brown boys and say, you know, this week, how many nice things someone said to you? Right. They would have to think hard, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when we are in our cruise and we're showing affection, we do it in a degrading way.
Right.
You know, my end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, who is saying you are possible? You're great. You're a warrior. You know, there's nothing can stop you. Who's giving that?
Right. Yeah, I tell my kids all the time, don't be afraid to be great.
Right.
Every day, every morning. And
Right.
I use that time to check in with them.
Yes.
You know, so that's why I know how to gauge things. Cause you never would just want to jump out and assume things. You know, you late, but there may be a reason. Let me check in.
I love
this
that.
happened, that happened.
I love that. I love
All right, cool.
that.
You hungry? I got granola bars in my office.
I love that.
Let me get your water, granola bar, go to class.
Yeah.
That way you're not hangry. You go
Right.
there, and, you know, you study, you can focus, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
I love that.
especially with the pizza, you know?
Yeah,
Go-
and that's what and that's powerful because if you're an athlete, you know you stretch before you work out.
Yes, sir.
So before I'm gonna work out your mind, let's just take a moment and sit and ask, how are you?
Right.
What's going on? You know, just bring down that relaxing. That's why we're doing those breathing exercises.
Right.
You know, breath work is powerful, man. It doesn't cost a lot. It's powerful. Teaching children how to breathe, and you know what?
Right.
You take it with you the rest of your life.
Right. Do you have a favorite rappers list?
Yeah, I got. I'm an old school guy, man.
Right.
You know, KRS-One.
Right.
You know, I like Ja Rule. I like Jay
Right.
stuff. Mano is another one that I
Right.
like. So I like a lot of the old school sound. That's clear. My son is a rapper. He goes under the label name of J.O., Jayoo.
Mhm.
He's done a couple of things. He's doing a nice project with music and a video with a storyline to it.
Right.
You know, so I'm always listening to some of the new stuff that he's doing. He's gonna make his way. You know,
Right. You should. You know how like the boxers they get walked out by a rapper. Like you should bring him walk you out like at a rally. Like it's on you and J.O. Like yeah, you know what I mean. You know, good promo. You know what I mean. Part of the video. You know. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
Yeah, a few that I enjoy going to. There's a nice spot in Manhattan, in La Baya. It's a nice spot, very casual, very well done, very well kept. I used to have this spot in Brooklyn called Woodlands. That was my spot.
Okay.
You know, but it closed down. So there's a few I like to hit when I sit down and just relax. I like to go uptown sometimes to Sylvia's.
Okay.
and eat
Yeah. In
there.
Harlem.
Or sometimes we on the run. And the team, we would stop at Uptown Veg.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and grab something to eat.
Right. You like seafood?
I don't eat much of it.
Right.
If I get it, you know, I try to eat plant-based as much as possible.
Okay.
But if I feel like eating something, I don't restrict myself. It's
Right.
not what you do every once in a while. It's what you do every day.
Right. I mean, City Island's always a vibe. You know,
Yeah,
it's a
everybody.
vibe right there.
I don't know who didn't take a shorty to City Island.
Right. If you didn't, you slacking. If a man hasn't taken you to City Island, he don't love you. He ain't got no good intentions for you. And he got to take you past Seafood City too. No offense, but you know, if he just going to the front right there, set a little traffic for you, show that he's patient.
He's just going through the motions.
He's going through the motions, right? I mean, do you have a favorite home cooked meal?
Yeah, yes. I you know, like I said, I eat plant-based as much as possible. And I like taking my mom's old recipes and make them into plant-based and exploring new spices, especially Caribbean spices.
Right.
People don't realize that salt and pepper is not the only spice.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like to do this whole little stew thing with some veggie noodles or spaghetti, throw in some nice mushrooms with some onions, and I make my own little sauce with it, and I'll make some different meals
Right.
out of make my own bread. I use chickpea powder or something like that,
Right.
and I like to make a nice little wrap out of it.
Right.
That's like my go-to heavy meal
Right.
that can get me through the day.
Right. Do you drink brown water?
No, tell me about that.
It's Hennessy.
You know, let me tell you my first favorite nighttime move.
Yeah.
Late at night, when the barbershops and the hair salons close, everybody don't know, folks go in the back and they open up a bottle of Hennessy. Someone the other day had some moonshine.
Ooh.
And you get your best ideas.
Right.
I'll pull up, fall in, go in the back, and just hang out with everybody in the back and just get their assessment. You know, what's
Right.
happening in the city? How do you feel? You know, once people got 1 or 2 shots of Hennessy, they just start flowing.
Right, yeah. Got brown water. Now you know it's brown water. You know, I put you on. You know? Yeah, you know? So we're coming, you know, to the end, but 3 things.
Yes.
Right. So you mentioned that you can't cower away when you drop the ball.
Yes.
Right? Is there a moment that you felt that you dropped the ball?
Yes. Oh, are you kidding me, man? There are days when I wish I would have gotten out of bed, and there are days I wish I would have stayed in bed.
Right.
There have been. I'm perfectly imperfect, man.
Right.
You know, if you were to go to Webster Dictionary and look up the word imperfection, you'll see my big face smiling because that's who I am.
Some brown water like this.
You know, but and when I'm hoping, you know, as I indicated, you know, when you, and I use this sentence all the time because people need to understand that when you go from, you know, you're dyslexic, arrested, rejected, now you're elected to be the mayor of the most important city on the globe, it is a message to everyone that the bend in the road is not the end of the road. Just make the turn.
Yeah.
You know, so if you sit in Rikers Island, you say, wait, my mayor was in jail. If you are having a learning disability, my mayor has a learning disability. If you live on the verge of homeless or in a homeless shelter, my mayor lives on the verge of homelessness. So I think God elevated me here to elevate people in their minds that anything is possible. And so there are days that I wish I would have done it differently.
Right.
How I handle a situation. You know, I could think of just my days as a police officer on how I responded. And I go back and say, damn, man, you know what? You could have responded differently on your interactions with that. And I do it as the mayor. You gotta make these tough decisions. I'm in the pocket.
Right.
You know, and people who are in the bleachers can sit down and articulate how they would have moved the ball down the field. But listen, man, you take that hike, you know, you take that hike, and you just got pounded by a 300-pound lineman like you, and you got to get back up and go back to that line of scrimmage and still move that ball down the field. That's another hustle, man. That's another hustle. That is why they created the terminology Monday morning quarterback.
Right.
You know, a lot of people want to do this job, but they can't do this job for what you have to go through. And so I can look over some decisions I made that I look back later and say, you know what? We got to come back to the drawing board. We got to do things differently. You know, there are folks that I may have hired, and I realized, you know what, this wasn't the right hire.
Right.
I got to look in a different way. So yes, I drop the ball often.
Right.
You know, but even when I drop it, I pick it up.
Right.
And I keep moving the ball down the field.
Right. Message to your younger self.
I wish I would have gotten my passport earlier.
Right.
Because I grew up as a child until I went to Bayside High School in 1 square mile. My whole life was in that 1 square mile. I embraced the anti-Christopher Columbus theory that if I leave my block, I'm gonna fall off the globe.
Right.
And I want every child, this is one of the things I want to be my legacy. When you graduate from high school, you get your diploma and you get your passport.
Right.
Because then that gives you a calling. You got to get off the block. And I don't mean the block of just where you live, but the block called America.
Right.
There's a whole globe out there.
Right.
And I want, you know, when I started traveling, it opened my mind to the possibilities and how much, you know, we could do so much more. So I would say to my younger self, don't worry about being in a fancy place. Just pack a knapsack, get one of your close friends and say, listen, we're gonna go somewhere where it's off the beaten path. Go to you know, Vietnam, go to Cambodia, you know, go to Guatemala, you know, just go somewhere different. We don't only have to go to the South and to the Caribbean islands. There's so much more. There's a whole globe. There's not a black part of the globe or white part of the globe. It's the whole globe. And the second is communication. It blows my mind that we go through our entire years in school, K through 12. And I didn't take one course on communication.
Right.
Probably one of the most important skills you could have, to be a deep listener, seek to understand so you can be understood.
Right.
No one listens anymore.
Right.
Everyone wait for you to finish the sentence so they can
Right.
tell you how wrong you are. If you're a good communicator, if you're a good deep listener, and you're willing to say, let me see every side of things, you will really grow. And I wasn't always that way. I was always I'm right, everyone else is wrong. I've learned to sit back and say, listen, Eric, just shut up and listen.
Right.
And you could learn a lot. And then you could expound. And sometimes it may take a day or two and say, listen, I want to come back to that conversation we had because I feel differently. I want to add something to it. So I would say get exposed and be a solid communicator.
Right. For the flights and the passports, we should do like a little graduate raffle.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
And
yeah.
everybody, you submit your report cards, you submit your passport, and we could do a little qualifications.
Right.
And we send 10 kids to Aruba or something,
I like that.
We go to Austria
Right.
or Prague or, Czech Republic, we collab on that.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, they say catch flights, not feelings,
I like that.
Yeah, put you on.
We sent a group of children to Ghana.
Right.
To go visit Ghana. We did an exchange. But I bet you, and I don't have any survey on it, but I bet you 85% of our young people don't have a passport.
I believe it.
Because it's never even instilled in us.
The exposure.
You go to other communities, they are starting out with their children having passports.
Both of my sons have passports.
Right.
They got baby pictures in there. Like I had to hold them like this. Like,
I love that. That. We should do. We should start tweeting out. Got my passport.
Right.
Because I'm a global leader.
Yeah.
I'm a global thinker.
We're going to start that. That means you got to follow me on all platforms.
Right.
Yeah, and we're going to start that.
Right,
You know
right. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. You're not international because you go to Chinatown and have,
Yeah, and no offense, what's the thing of, the thing in Jersey, is it Jersey? The little casinos up there? Oh,
yeah.
Damn, that's not a vacation either. What's it called? Atlantic City.
Right.
Yeah, that's not. Come on, no offense, but
No. And you can do those quick runs.
That's a quick run.
Right,
That's what that is, though. That's a quick run.
But we want our children to be global.
Yes, international.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, fun fact, I played baseball overseas. So I was in Austria. I lived in Vienna 2 years.
Love it.
2018, 2019.
That's a game changer. People don't realize how much it changed. I remember when I was in Vienna trying to navigate the metro.
Right.
Well, sure it was Vienna.
Clean too over
right. And I didn't know how to speak the language, and someone came to help me. And so that gave me the patience when I'm here and someone is trying to navigate our subway system and they're holding up the line. I always remember how it was for you in Vienna? Be patient.
Right. We all got to give each other grace.
That's right, brother.
Absolutely, man. Right. So listen, make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. You got any shout outs, anything, anything, promo, what's going on this summer?
Listen, we have a saying, get stuff done. I like to say get stuff done for you, for New Yorkers. I believe in this city, and we need to fall in love with the city again because it's the greatest city on the globe. There's only two types of Americans, those who live in New York and those who wish they could.
That's a fact, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you donate to Slice of Excellence. And listen, have a fun and safe summer. It's all love. We out. My brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Huge.
Peace and love, world. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, support the channel, show your love. You know what I'm saying? We having great conversation week in and week out. You never know who's coming. You never know what we're going to do. But at the end of the day, it's all about peace and love. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment.